Three, two, one, and we're on fire. Welcome again to episode number 11 of the Light Bearer podcast with your hosts, Gio and Mr. K. Ola. Today, we have a special guest with a special tale. But aren't they all special? Aren't they all unique? Them tales that go on and on. And where, Miss Teresa, can you instruct me on how to pronounce your last name?
Touche.
Touche.
That's what my dad would say, and that's what people would say to me growing up in school.
Exactly.
But it's the chocolate. It's a Swiss chocolate.
Touche. Okay.
Yeah.
So Teresa Touche is our special guest today. And where do you hail from at the moment?
I am in New York City.
New York. I was born in the Bronx.
Oh, were you? I'm in Chelsea, but I grew up on the Lower East Side.
Really? Well, I left New York when I was 3 years old, so I don't really remember much.
Okay.
Because I had gotten tuberculosis and the weather was not conducive to a speedy recovery.
Okay.
So my grandparents went to New York from Colombia, and they took me to warmer weather. And I haven't been to New York since 1975, but I was born in the Bronx. My sister was born in Brooklyn, and my other sister was born in Queens.
Okay. So you left when the Bronx was burning.
Yeah, I guess so. The Bronx has never stopped burning.
They just had a massive fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, really bad. Like I think 9 people died.
Really? And what was the cause?
Space heater.
A heater?
A space heater. Somebody had a space heater.
Oh,
and
okay.
They kept it on, and they didn't shut their door. I don't know all the details of it, but that's kind of the gist of what I've gotten.
Okay.
It's pretty bad.
Well, probably because of all the buildings right next to each other.
This one, this is actually a building that's kind of freestanding on its own.
One of those?
It's just like there's a lot of smaller buildings around it, and this was just a tall building, independent tall building.
All right.
But it was, no fire is good.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I went to Colombia and then ended up back in California.
Okay.
I left California in not 1988, in 2002, and I've been in Japan ever since.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Been here for 20 years. Anyway, Miss Teresa, you know what, we're here. Without further ado, let's get going.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your tale.
Okay, so I'm born and raised in New York City. I come from a family of actors. I'm a trainer. I've been a trainer for about 11 years now.
What kind of trainer?
A personal trainer. In particular, Kai knows very well, the mace.
Okay.
The mace. We talk a lot about it. But I started as a trainer. I'd always grew up in New York City, and I was very active, and my passion was ballet growing up. And I think when I was like 9, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and it progressively got worse. I had to wear a brace that looks like some contortion trap that you would just never see anybody wearing now. And it was it's kind of something that you would see maybe Frida Kahlo wearing back in the day. And I wore that brace. What's that?
Like Forrest Gump?
Yeah, but worse.
Okay.
Worse. It was like there was metal going down the front, and I had metal under my arms and leather hips, and it scarred my body, and but it didn't work it didn't do what it was. Yeah, straight back. And it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And then I got another brace, and that didn't do what it was supposed to do. And my curves got worse. And by the time I think I was 12, I was going to have surgery. So I had surgery for scoliosis. My curves were 45-50. And that was about in 82, I think, 82, 83. And I have Harrington rods fused to my spine. So I have, what they do is when you have scoliosis, and with this procedure in particular, they take screws and they screw them into your spine, and then they attach rods somehow. And I'm not 100% sure on how they do that, because it's
Fusion.
right. But the fusion also comes from taking different parts of your bone from different places.
Like the cartilage, isn't it? They
Yeah.
put that. That's what
Right.
fuses bones
Right.
together.
But I'm not sure how, do you know how the rods with the screws? I'm not too sure.
2 rods go in, and then there's something holding them at the back as a support.
Okay.
And then put the bone bits into your cartilage, and over time, both fuses into one bone.
And that's it in a nutshell.
So when you underwent this surgery, and I'm sure I've gotten surgery on my elbow.
Okay.
I have a scar from here to here. They had to reroute the ulnar nerve, and at the same time, I had to get some scar tissue removed out of my wrist. So they did them both at the same time, and I remember how painful it was, but I can't even come close to imagine the agony upon waking up and their recovery.
It was a really dark time for me, because the only thing I remember after the surgery was being in the recovery room, and I had a gown on, and the snap was digging into my shoulder. And I was telling the nurse something was wrong, and she was like, you're fine, you're fine. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then I got out of the recovery room, and at some point the IVs had come out of my arm.
Oh.
So I looked like a junkie, like both arms were just, and they said, do you want pain medication? And they said, the only way we can give it to you is through a needle. And I said, no. So I went 4 days without any pain medication. And then I took pills. Yeah. And I remember the first time I went to the bathroom, I saw the string out of my back from the stitching. And my mom had told me, she said, you turned green when you saw that. And that's all I remember. I didn't, like, the physical therapy at that time might've been walking up and down the hall. I had to learn how to remove. So it was a dark time. And there was also a lot of stuff going on with my family on the other side that added to the darkness, if you will.
To the experience that you were going through at the moment.
Right. And the support at that time, this was in the 80s, and the support at that time, like if you had this, it was, you were deformed, and it was like, all you knew was you're going to look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So it was like, and you had a brace, and it was like, what's wrong with you? So there was.
Sorry to interrupt you. This was around 1983, right?
82, 83. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're about the same age.
Yeah. So like, there was no support. There obviously, Kai and I have spoken about this. There was no social media. If you knew somebody that had something similar to you, you were lucky. And I knew one person, but we weren't great friends. We went to the same school, and the brace that she had was different than mine. And I think when she had she ended up having surgery as well, but I think that she had to have a body cast for 6 months after the surgery, and I did not.
What's the difference? Is it better to wear the body cast, or is that due?
It was just my procedure at that time was more advanced.
Okay.
So the only thing was post-surgery, I had to wear my second brace if I was in a moving vehicle, and I was told not to go into water for long periods of time. And that was it.
When was it?
What's that?
What part used?
I honestly, it's been so long, I don't know.
So is it your lumbar, upper back, or your lower?
I don't know. I don't know. And it was a dark time, and I don't want to know.
Okay. So, well, usually scoliosis is right around the thoracic area of the
It's,
spine?
well, it depends if you have a C curve or you can have an S. The S is generally the thoracic and the lumbar.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
So, and I have an S, but I don't know. I have one X-ray. I have
Okay.
one recent yeah, like last year or 2 years ago. I got an X-ray, but it was related to something else, and I could see just the hooks of my of the rods. And what I didn't know, and I did talk to an orthopedist recently.
Mm.
At the time when they did the surgery, the metal like would hook onto your spine. They would hook it onto you.
Oh,
And I looked at my X-ray and I was like, that's what I have. But you know, like I said, it was a really dark time
yeah. I mean,
for me.
I couldn't imagine. You know, I can imagine going through that. Go ahead, Kay.
This whole procedure, how did it affect your mobility?
I'm like this. I'm as straight as a wall. You know, I had to, I have very limited pelvic mobility. I have some, and lateral is like, I mean, I go and it's like, oh, I'm stretching. And it's like, people are like, you're moving. And I'm like, yeah, can't you tell? It's very limited. It's very limited. But I am able to move.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I just did some ballet work today, and I said in my mind, like my leg is all the way up here, but in actuality, it's down here. So I don't, when I bend down, I'm completely straight.
Do you
I'm like,
experience any neuropathy because of it?
no,
Great.
no, it's
Great.
like I'm very lucky with my circumstances of life.
That's what I was about to say. I mean, we all have our pains that we struggle through. Some
Yeah.
might not be as extreme to the others, but pain is pain to people. And you look at, for example, I remember working out in this city out in Japan called and the prefecture of Kanagawa, which is right next to Tokyo. And I was working in the city of Sagamihara in an urban junior high school, which for Japanese standards, this was like one of those high schools you would see in a movie back home in the United States, where the teacher goes to teach the lesson and bring the school together. It was just total chaos. And that's very rare in Japan, but you do have those schools.
Okay.
And there was, the after school club activities in Japan. They're actually very serious. The kids got to come in on the weekends and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's a little bit different than back home. But one of the school clubs was track and field. And I remember one day after school, me going out the front of the school, and I see this volunteer, because the teachers have to choose a club that they're going to lead, and they rotate every year, but usually teachers have to have like a relevant skill to that club so that they can teach the kids. So for example, if you're head of the judo club, you should know some judo.
Makes sense.
Exactly. So anyway, but a lot of the teachers have lost like any desire or will to work with those kids, because it was really bad. There was a lot of violence, and the doors would come off the classroom because some of the kids would kick them out. And anyway, so we would rely on volunteers. At the judo club, I volunteered for it. And so I remember being in front of the school and looking at the track and field club, and the main teacher, who was a volunteer, had no legs. But check this out. The legs were cut from the knees up. And he had those metal legs that curve at the bottom like this. They're kind of bouncy and stuff like that. And this guy ran like nobody's business. He was like Forrest Gump. And all the students were so inspired by him, because he was like, what, you would expect me to stay home and cry? Yeah, I already did that. But guess what? Some people don't have legs starting from the hips. And so what I wanted to say to you is that you're blessed that you have no neuropathy, and that at least even if you move like this, you can move.
Yeah. I just move differently, you know. I mean,
Yes.
Kai and I have spoken about this before, you know, and his story alone, like, you know, it's so inspiring, and his motivation and his discipline to do what he does when he could do the same thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, Kate, tell us a little bit about your story. I've heard it before, but you know, other people
Well,
might not have heard it. So go ahead, Mr. K.
we've all heard my stories. This is Teresa's time.
Okay.
I keep
Anyway,
calling you Kai. I'm gonna call you Kay. I'm sorry.
okay, so go ahead and continue. So let us know, because again, because of your condition, I'm sure that at the beginning it might have been like, oh, the end is over, I'm never gonna do anything. But there had to be a point in your mind where you just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had even past surgery, I auditioned for, I still tried to do ballet as much as I could. And I auditioned for LaGuardia, Performing Arts, high school, you know, fame, right? And I auditioned and they saw my scar and they were like, no, you're out. And that was like another, you know, just smack in the face, like, okay, I have this deformity. And once again, like, you can't do anything with it. And then I mean, my dad said this. He said, you know, he said, when somebody would say you couldn't do something, you were like, oh yeah, watch me. And I've still kind of held that mentality. You know, I don't say it, I think, as aggressively as I used to, but I was a teenager then, and you know, we're like, I'm gonna do it, and you know, whatever. But I just was like, you know, I mean, I still say it. I walk once a week. I walk 6 miles a day, and people are like, are you crazy? We had 20 something degrees here on Monday, which is, I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was cold. And I'm just like,
you had 20 Celsius?
No, Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
So it's like 12 Celsius or 10. It was freaking cold.
Yeah, it's about 7.
It was cold.
It's 7 here right now. It's pretty cold.
Okay. Here. It was cold. And people were like, are you insane? I said, you know what? I said, as long as I have legs and I can use them, I'm going to use them. And that's kind of the way I live my life. Like, as long as I can do something, I'm going to do it.
Oh, it was 6.6 Celsius. And
it's cold.
Yeah. By where we're moving, we just bought a farm out in another prefecture. So we're moving out from here in March, and it gets like 8 below zero over there.
That's cold. Listen, I lived in Germany. I know what cold is.
Oh, New York is pretty much like penguin land.
Well, the difference is that we have all the tall buildings, so the wind comes and like, whoosh, it can like whip you away.
Well, you get the chill factor.
Yeah. But I said, you know, like, I've just tried to hold the mentality, as long as I can do something, I'm going to do it, because there can be a time where I can't do it.
That's right. And that is the attitude. That's my attitude. Also, you're talking about walking. I take cold showers in winter outside.
I used to do that.
You know,
okay, not outside, but I used to do that.
I have a backyard that's a jungle. And so and I do it is for health benefits and for mind control and stuff like that. But I like to go on long walks every day, and I'll take a walk for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. And then, you know, my wife, she's a bit younger than me, not much. I'm 49 and she's 43. But you know, that there's a difference, and we live different lifestyles. I lived a very rough lifestyle. But one thing that I've always maintained a constant is physical activity. I believe in moving. If you stop moving, you know, if you stop using your legs, even if you don't have a condition, you're going to create a condition. So I told my wife, you know what? Yeah, because her car, the battery had died, and she's like, it kind of sucks not to have your car, huh? And I'm like, well, I never really thought about it that way. I said, you know what, though? but you see those legs right now, you can move them.
Yeah.
If you reach a day where you can't start, when you can't move those legs, you're gonna cry.
Yeah.
So be happy that you can move your legs.
Yeah. And it's, it's like, I mean, even with the cold weather, like Kay and I were talking about this, it's called a skinny belt. I do what I need to do to protect my back so that it feels warm, because I'm a person who loves heat, because it gives me physically and mobility wise, I feel like I have more freedom.
Yes.
What things do you do to
What's that? Say again?
Keep going. I'm gonna go get a glass of water. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, say that again.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Yes, I said, what other things do you do day to day with your condition?
Well, sometimes I'll just like body work. In the yoga world, they're called downward dogs, but in the training world, they're called pikes. Just some really simple mobility work to warm up, or I'll do like Hindu squats.
Yeah, Hindu squats
I'm very into those right now. Because
Hindu squats are amazing. I love them.
Yeah, because it also, like, when you bring your hands, I just, it's about, I translate it as giving yourself grace.
Yes. Well, the thing about Hindu squats is that because of their nature, you need to keep a straight position. You don't want to be leaning forward.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
and that's what I'm saying. And so for you, they work perfectly.
Yeah.
Which and they're amazing on your knees too. They're knee savers.
Everybody can do them. I do that. I really like hack squats, or like deep side lunges, where I'm almost pretty much hitting the floor. It just feels what?
With your knees over your toes.
One leg is straight, so I'm sinking really down to the floor.
Like this?
Yeah. So this knee is bent. This is my knee, and then the other leg is straight like this.
Yes.
And I'm just pretty much, my butt is pretty much touching the floor, and the leg that's extended, the foot is flexed.
Yeah, those are badass. Go ahead, Kay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. One more time, Kay.
Cossack squat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna. That's what I was gonna say. Cossack you.
But it's interesting because they all, like, one move has 5 different names in 5 different languages.
Yeah. The Hindi squats are called deep knee bends.
Right. So it's like, I mean, I just love doing things that will give me the freedom to feel like I'm not limited. And whatever that is, sometimes it's the mace. Today I worked with clubs on the roof.
Nice.
Yeah, because I went to the park today and I saw a rat, and I was like, no, we're not.
You got a mace. You can mace that rat to death, dude.
Yeah, no, I don't do rats. I saw that little thing. No, but like, I just, whatever feels right to do, I'll do it. And sometimes I'll start with just body work and mobility. Sometimes I'll dance.
Okay, well, what kind of dancing do you do?
Whatever I want.
That's good.
Like today, what's that?
Well, you said you do ballet.
I did ballet, and today I practiced some arabesques on the roof, and I was like, my leg was down here, and in my brain, it's all the way up here. And then, like, I did some Fosse and whatever I want. I'm not gonna conduce myself to doing one thing.
And that's the thing. And even if you are limited, you just operate within that realm, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay in one place, because life is variety. Life is all about variety. Human beings thrive in variety.
Yeah. But
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I will say though, like, even with that, in terms of working out, the things that I am utilizing the most are the mace and clubs, and occasionally the kettlebell. But I have not found anything that matches my spatial freedom and strength to the point of the mace or the clubs.
Well, tell me a little bit, or tell us here. I'm sure Kay knows. He's privy to that information. Let me know, or how you came across the mace. How did you discover the mace, and then just realize, you know what, I'm gonna pick this thing up and I'm going to kick ass with it.
I was really interested with it through Cal's Bells on Instagram.
Yes.
And she was doing a workshop with, I'm going to get his last name wrong, Paul Woliske from Australia.
Yes, I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's he's like one of the go-tos he's like the king of Persian meals, of the gadas, of all of it. He's been doing it for a very long time, and he came to the States, and him and Kelly and this other guy, John, were going across the country and doing workshops, and they came to New York and they were doing this workshop, and I signed up for it. And the place that they were originally supposed to do it at fell through, so a lot of people backed out, and I was like, I don't care, I'm in on this. And I didn't know a lot about it other than what I had seen her do on Instagram. And so there was only 2 of us for the workshop, which was amazing. So we got Kelly Manzone, Paul from Australia, and this guy John from Utah teaching us about clubs and gadas and maces. And it was like a private session. And from there, yeah, I was like, thank you. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it completely. I wasn't sure, but I said, I'm going to try this and see what I can do. And that's really where it took off. And then I've since worked with Rick Brown, Mr. Mace Man. I've worked with him twice. I did a workshop with him. He came to the East Coast and did one. And then I also went out to California and worked with him privately. And I've also worked with, his name is impossible for me to pronounce, Hamrabi, Primal 6, also on Instagram. And he does a lot of club work.
Where in California did you go?
Long Beach.
I know Long Beach.
Primal lives in Long Beach, and then Rick lives further away.
Well, for all of you guys and gals who do not know what the mace is, you were thinking, what are we talking about? Is she talking about the spray you put on people's faces? Like, no.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to train with that as a form of exercise, and trying to prevent the boogeyman from coming in your home. But anyway, you can prevent the boogeyman from coming in your home with this too. This is a mace, which is kind of like this is a pole with a little ball at the end.
And it's all steel.
And this is steel, although they used to be different before. They were made out of stones.
So there's Bill and Steph Sorensen. So originally the original form of these is called gadas, and gadas are in India, and they still practice this today. And even with meals, which I don't personally practice, but Paul does. But the gadas and the meals, sometimes these guys, or it's mostly men, but they can be so small that they will stand on a clay brick, and then they will position, and then they will swing the gadas. And so they're like these, what's that?
Very heavy ones sometimes.
Very heavy ones.
Those huge ass balls that are adorned with like stones and shit.
Yeah, and for the meals, sometimes they have to oil their shoulders because of the movement of it. So it's been around.
They're so big, so they could rub on your shoulders.
Right. So, but they have to oil them so that they don't chafe.
Yeah, through the friction, because after a while you're gonna look and say, "Oh, I've reached bone."
Like I got a sunburn, and I'm and it's cold outside.
Right. You know what I mean? Kind of like a rug burn.
Right. So they've been around. So the mace is like the upgraded Western version of that. And I learned it with Kelly and Paul and John. And it just kind of took off from there, and I just continued to work with it. And that's, that's the short end of the stick. But there's people here in the States, Bill and Steph Sorensen, and they make them. They make the gatas from concrete with stick, and you can order one and they will ship it to you, or they have a book on how to make them, what you need to purchase them. But that's been it. And I've just really explored the mobility aspects of working with the mace and the clubs, that give me the freedom to feel like it's a dance.
Yeah,
So
it can be a dance in the movement. It's
Yeah.
what I like about it.
Yeah.
But the thing that's amazing here, what people don't realize is that the condition that you had, scoliosis, and then having gone through the surgery and then having put that stuff into your spine, which limits your mobility. They don't realize that, for those of you who don't realize how it works and how to swing a mace under those conditions, is what inspires me the most. Was like, yeah, this girl said, hey, I ain't having it. I'm going to move. Because you take over on that one, Kay. I mean, just explain a little bit. What's amazing about that?
I've got scoliosis myself, so I get where she's coming from. Well, I didn't have to have scoliosis. Mine is just still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have to start off light, and you have to learn the proper.
Yep.
Well, like anything, you don't want to start off. You want to get your form down, and you want to feel confident slowly. Once you get that form down. What'd you say?
Scoliosis, spine is curving, and you don't want to make the curve any worse than it is already. So
No.
You do.
Well, what was the weight that you started off with, Kay?
The first mace I got was 5 kilos.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have scoliosis, and I started off with 5. I still work with 5.
There are people that I know that work with 5 pounds, because the thing with the mace is like your ego. If you have an ego, it's going to get lost real quick with the mace.
Yeah.
Because if you're some person who's like, yeah, I can swing 20, it's like, oh, really?
You can't.
Go ahead.
20.
Go ahead.
Kay will tell you that I'm pretty strong. I'm sometimes I don't think like, man, I'm not strong enough, or what, and then people like, are you retarded? You do like 500 push-ups. And so sometimes I'm thinking like, because you get used to your own smelly socks, right? And it takes somebody else to smell your socks. They're like, hey, you need to get rid of those banana socks, man. But and I got the 5 kilo one, and that's heavy. That's because of the way that everything new requires new motions, and like you said, you need to check your ego out the door.
Because with the 360, the automatic thing is it's going to want to pull you back. Right. So you have to, I always say, like, you have to think about pulling your rib cage down and your pubic bone up. To bring it forward. And
because the weight's all the way at the end, it creates, so 5 kilos.
Right.
It's probably about 30 kilos. A 5 kilo mace is probably about 30 kilos if you calculate the leverage because of the long lever.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, because that it's all leverage is what it is. And that extra leverage, is what creates that extra feeling of weight. I remember when I first got it, like 5 kilos, I mean, I can chuck 5 kilos, but when I grabbed that base and the
very
first
different
in the back, I was like, oh shit, where did my shoulders go?
It's very different. The first mace I bought, it said 10 pounds. And I was like, okay. And this was after I worked with Kels and Paul. And I was like, okay. And then I did Rick Brown's workshop in New Jersey in September. And the mace always had a little sticker. It said 10 pounds. Well, the sticker came off. The mace is 13 pounds.
Oh man. And 10 pounds for you guys, 10 pounds is 4.5 kilos.
Yeah, it was. It was a rude awakening.
Yeah, it is. But it's a beautiful thing. I got turned on to it through Kay. okay, we met each other through the Bull Worker page.
Okay.
And so then I reached out to him and I said, hey man, we got to work out one day, you know, because I was checking out his routines and stuff. So I was like, oh man, this guy's got some serious shindangangs going on over there. And I was like, dude, let's work out. And I'm very sociable, so I like to reach out to people and create like connections. And so, but I was hoping he would. I was, you know, a lot of people said they're gonna do something and they don't.
Yeah.
And so Kate thought the same thing. He says he's gonna work out, but he's not. And I called him up on it again. I'm like, hey, bro, dude, so when we gonna work out? And all right. So we met and we started doing Zoom workouts, you know, with the Bull Worker and calisthenics. And then he turned me on to the mace, and I ordered one. And I remember being so excited when I first got it. I was like, dude, this is going to like totally make my, you know, holding my sword,
everything
a lot better. You know, having a sword that's so light compared to this, I'm gonna be swinging that thing like I'm Superman that just came to Earth.
It's such a game changer. I mean, even with the clubs, you know, like your grip, holding something and not letting it fly away. It requires a lot. Okay, say again.
The torque that it creates on your body, because he's trying to rip your limb apart, and you stopping it from ripping your arm apart.
Right.
He's creating in your tendons and your whole joint area.
And it does wonders for your shoulders. Go ahead.
And I have a membership for people who are fused, and they are now, like, I always tell people, you know, if you're interested in starting out with a mace, like, number one, check your ego. And for people who are fused, like Kay and myself, you know, I say start with a broom. Start with a broom, because you have to get used to it. And now they're swinging a mace, you know, and they're doing it successfully. They're not in pain. One of the members, she had her range of motion was limited, and now it's much better. And she's like, for the first time, I can see my muscles growing.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
And the empowerment, you know, I mean, I think for us, it's like the perfect medicine.
Well, it's like the mental medication, which will out Trump, Trump, which will out Trump.
What she's trying to say, when
sorry, okay, which will out Trump any psychotropic medication, you know. That's the real medication right there. If you want to take a pill for your sadness, to get those results afterwards, it's a game changer. Go ahead, Kay. Sorry that I stomped on you.
Gain from this as well. And when you're coming from a place where I don't know how bad your scoliosis was, but I was like crippled, Teresa. And when you feel your body again, you know, there's a point where you can't even feel your arms, you can't feel your legs. Just that connection that you get from doing things like the mace, it's really.
I didn't have that, you know. I wasn't in pain. I didn't have you know, I mean, I think the doctors were really good about scaring my parents.
Aren't they always?
And you know, I didn't have pain. I mean, if you see pictures of when I was younger, you can see that one scapula protrudes out more, but that's all I remember. So I didn't, like I said, I mean, I didn't have any pain. There's Sarah Henderson, you know, she was born with it, and she's now swinging a mace, and she's like, I mean, she's a freaking rock star as far as I'm concerned. And watching, I met her more than 2 years ago, and you know, was the first time that she really started talking about her scoliosis and just kind of like bringing it to the table. And she saw me working with the mace, and she was like, yeah, I want to try that. And she lives in Vermont, and you know, we've connected a couple of times, and she's come into the city and we've swung the mace, and it's just freaking awesome. So it's you know, like it's And her curve is very severe. She got this amazing tattoo on her back of a tree, but you can see, how severe her contortion is, how compressed her spine is. But she's swinging the mace, and she's doing it, and I love that.
Do you guys go to the park?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I was picturing. I was like, this is the new freaking Tai Chi sessions. You got your Tai Chi, and you got these people like swinging maces and stuff. That's amazing. I love it.
I mean, I get asked a lot, in the park. People are like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's a mace." And I'm like, "Not this one."
Yeah.
And people are interested. So but it's really interesting because I don't want to. The mace for me is not. There's no steel mace flow, and that started about 3 years ago, and that's great, and I'm not putting it down in any way, shape, or form. But for me, I'm more interested personally in the history of the mace and the gata and what it does.
Yes.
And the free flow, I think, just comes naturally. You challenge your body with what we have versus what we don't. And you take it to the next level of what's comfortable for you. But I personally love the challenge of swinging 10 to 2s, and getting into this meditative space and just going. And like, I close my eyes and I swing. And I haven't closed my eyes swinging the 15 yet. I'm not that courageous. But the 13, I can just close my eyes and I just swing and I just go, and it's euphoric, and I just go. And I'm not a person who's going to do like 500 swings at one time. I've done 200, and that's enough for me.
It's just going at your own pace. It's a flow.
Right.
I go with it as well.
And that's, that's like, you just go, and it's just, I don't know how to describe it other than you get to this heightened space that is like so light.
It's like if you smoke a big ass joint and it's like really crazy, like, oh, this is some good crondo, and then just for a second you just kind of close your eyes and then don't realize you still have the joint in your hands, and it's been like, and then you wake up, it's like, fuck, the joint is gone. I don't smoke anymore, but when I did, that's how I you get so sucked into that mental universe.
And you just go, you have the freedom to go.
You transcend space and time.
Mm-hmm. And I like my music.
Oh,
so whatever's in my ears, and if I had started swinging today and I had seen that rat, I might not have been as freaked out. But I saw the rat before I started, and then I was like, no.
You're funny, because it reminds me of my ex-wife. I was at the moment we were experiencing the decline of our marriage, so I used to sleep in a private school which had a room on the second floor, which was just like 2 blocks away from where my wife and my kid was at. And I remember one day when her parents were over at the house, and I'm looking across the corners of the house, and I noticed like little tiny pebbles, and I tell them, I'm like, that's mouse shit, that's mouse feces or rat feces. And then my mother-in-law is like, you don't know what you're talking about, that's probably cockroaches. I'm just like, if that is cockroach poop, I don't want to be here when that cockroach comes out. That's some Jurassic Park kind of shit. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I said, nah, trust me, that's Rouse feces. And more than likely, those rats or those mice are behind the stove, because they find either behind
they find the holes.
Yeah, because it's nice and warm in there, and also it's difficult to reach. They can raise their little farms in there.
They got the whole system.
Yeah, and so anyway, what I did, go ahead.
They contort themselves into all kinds of shapes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And so anyway, I got this glue trap. But a
Mhm.
perfect bait for mice and rats, rodents, is peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
They
My friend
love peanut butter.
caught 2 rats in one trap with peanut butter.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so I put them right next to, because their highways
Mhm.
is along the wall. That's how they
Mhm.
walk. They
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
safe like that. And so I put them in those areas. And I remember I caught one the first day, and then next thing you know, it's like every day 2 or 3. And so I would come over, and then I would get a brick, drop it on top, and then throw it in the trash can. And each time the mice, which ended up being rats actually,
Yeah.
started getting bigger. I was like, these we don't have that much food back in back there. So these
Yeah.
must be rats. And so anyway, I'm at work one day,
Mhm.
and my wife calls, and she's screaming on the phone, which this is what reminded me of you. Like, nah, I ain't doing it. She's like, you gotta come over. I'm like, what the hell happened, dude? There's a mouse. There's a big mouse on the trap.
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
like,
Nope.
oh, it's on the trap? Okay, we'll just pick it up in there. No, I'm leaving. And so
I'd be
it,
that person. I'd be that person.
it was like this big.
Yep. I don't do rats. I don't do
You know,
rats.
I don't mind. You know what gets me about them? Okay, it's not so much the body, but the tail of a rat is freaky.
That's
Oh,
what most people, they're like, all they have to do is see the tail and they're like, nope, I'm out.
yeah.
I'm out.
And, you know, if you corner rats, I remember
They
being
jump.
in Colombia. Not
They
only
jump.
do they jump, but they turn around and they will hiss at you and fight with you, dude. Yeah, and I remember same situation. I was in Colombia. The maid found this rat, and she started chasing it around like Harry Potter with a fucking broom and shit. And we're going all over the house, and we finally reached the front of the house, and the rat was cornered, and it turned around and
Yep.
got on his 2 hind paws and went like this.
Nope.
And the maid just went boom, just killed it
Nope.
with the broom.
Nope. Yeah, but when I see a rat in the park, I'm like, we're not friends, and then I leave.
Ratatouille. Have you watched
Yeah.
Ratatouille? Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
No.
That cartoon where there's a rat that becomes a chef.
Oh, I think I've heard the name, but I've never watched it.
It's actually cool, Ratatouille. You gotta watch Ratatouille, Teresa.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, let's continue.
No.
We got sidetracked a little bit. We are coming up on the time limit soon.
Yeah.
But
Let's ask. She teaches people with fusions about the mace. Let's
Mhm.
hear about.
Say,
Let's
say,
hear about you teaching people the mace, people that are fused.
oh, me teaching it. Yeah. So I've worked with, I mean, Sarah, I worked with, and the membership that I have, and it's specifically for people who have scoliosis who are fused. And I said, I start them out with a broom. Get used to the movement of the broom. And it's awkward because even doing, like, I call it a slip and slide, even doing that, the movement of with a broom is kind of awkward. So when you're bringing it up, you're like dusting the floor and then trying to hold it, but you get used to it just to be comfortable, because the mace is intimidating. It is an intimidating tool. And if you walk down the streets with it, people are like, it's like, I walk down the streets all the time with the mace, and people are like, whoa. And it's like, I'm just
like this.
Yeah, that's how I walk down the street with it.
They're like, what the hell?
And it's like, I'm not doing it to be intimidating. It's something that's, for me, really personal. And it's something that I'm really passionate about. And I love teaching it, and I love learning it. And I love the history of it.
Have you ever gotten stopped by the police walking down the street with a mace?
Nope.
Okay.
But I've wondered, because I'm in Chelsea in Manhattan, and there are a lot of cops around, you know, and going to the park that I go to, there are a lot of police around.
Well, especially now with all this, you know, where people go to the stores and break the windows now, and everybody's just all up in their own personal revolutions and shit.
Yeah.
Walking down the street with this thing, they're probably thinking, that's the boss right there. That's the boss.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when it was, you know, when New York was like 6 feet apart, it was a great tool. It was like nobody still gets near me. You know, some people will ask what it is, and some people are like, but you know, it's this, and I have an addex as well, which is also a mace, but the neck is longer, and it's got a pommel at the bottom. Yeah. So, and you can add weight.
Adjustable weights, isn't it?
What's that?
Adjustable weight.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so it's, that one, you know, the neck is longer. So if I'm carrying it on my shoulder, people are really staying far away. So during the height of, you know, COVID and the pandemic and the lockdown, it was great because nobody got near me. But
that's great. So you can walk down the street without a mask.
Yeah. Yeah. Where I am, it's very congested. So it's a catch-22. You know, I'm right off of 6th Avenue. So it's like, there's a lot of people. But it's
swing that motherfucker like this.
Listen, I just carry it here. And then it's like, okay. But I just love teaching it because like I said, for me, I mean, there's a way that it brings me back to, you know, my childhood of dancing.
Yes. Real quick, I'll leave you with Kay just for a few minutes. This is the time where my wife goes to work. And so I need to just call her because we live in separate houses during the week. My work is in a rural house and she works in another. So we usually meet on the weekends. Let me just call her because I need to send her some love before she goes to work. Take over. I can hear you though because I have a surround system.
Okay.
So everything you're saying is on.
Okay.
Yeah, let's carry on about what you were saying about teaching it.
So I mean, you know, like I just love teaching it. It brings me, like I said, it brings me back to the childhood of dancing, you know, and the people that I've worked with who are fused, who are now working with the mace. It's I just feel really fortunate and blessed to watch them get to that point of feeling freedom. You know, you feel like your
mace technique, do you see that do you still improve as days go on?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I thought about posting from when I first started, you know, and how I was like, and now, you know, and that was like, it was flying behind me. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And now I'm swinging with closed eyes.
Oh, now that you said that it was swinging behind you, I remember once when I first got it and I swung it this way and didn't realize the momentum that it was generating because of the ball. And so my grip wasn't on hard enough and it just slipped. Poof, it just left. I was like, I got to be careful with this shit.
Kay, have you ever hit yourself with the mace?
Yes, I've hit myself with the mace.
In your back?
Yeah, my back.
Me too.
How did you? Yeah, go ahead.
And it on my back.
How did you feel mentally when that happened?
Mentally, I was asking myself, am I going to carry on doing this thing or am I going to stop right now?
And we know the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
We know the answer.
I hit myself before just once, not very hard, but the way I saw it was like, fuck. I just did it again.
When I did the workshop with Kelly Manzone and Paul, I was terrified. I was like, if I hit my back, like,
yeah. That's why.
You know, and now, what's that?
People like us, we're worried about our spines.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I I had a hunchback problem for years, and I still have a permanent curvature at the top, not scoliosis, but it was through
Lordosis.
it was from poor posture, and
Okay.
as you know, and a lot of it had to do with the I went through like really bad child abuse past, and so kids that have emotional problems, they tend to walk like this because instinctively they're hiding themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I ended up walking around like this all the time. And it took me one day to just realize like that's enough, because I was starting to get neuropathy in my neck. I have permanent neuropathy right here where I can't really feel much of my thumb. So when my wife starts going like this, I'm just, don't touch it. Dude. It feels like a million ants are there. But there, it's not the motor nerves, is the sense nerve. But anyway, so eventually I just started doing corrective exercises, and I catch myself even when I'm like this. I'm like, not let me sit properly, you know.
And that's the thing with the mace, like, because doing the 360s or even doing the pendulum, you know, you hold it and you sway, and it's gonna pull you back. It's gonna open you up here.
Yes,
which feels amazing.
Your shoulder girdle.
Right.
Yes, it sets it back in place.
Right.
It takes that round shoulder position.
Right.
It says clunk clunk.
Right. And that alone, I think, because to get used to this movement and holding it and pendulum and letting it sway, number one, it's intimidating because you're afraid you're going to hit your back. And nobody else can understand the fear that like Kay and I carry if we hit our back. You know, you like, nothing against anybody who's not fused. I mean, everybody's got their own stories, but you know, we got some metal back there. So like, if we mess stuff up, you know, we have reasons to be scared.
Yeah. Next, you got to go into the repair shop.
Right. Right. And like, we were already repaired once before, and that was enough.
You know, exactly.
So getting used to that, you know, but then what it offers you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, what it offers you, like you have external rotation of your shoulders. You feel your lats coming down.
Oh, once those shoulders are back here, because what people don't realize, when you have your shoulders like that, you're putting undue pressure on your neck, which is also interfering with nerve transmission and circulation. When your shoulders are back here and then your neck finally goes into proper alignment, the clarity that you feel in your brain is amazing. Oh, fuck, I didn't know I had that much oxygen in my blood.
Yeah. And the thing I love about the mace is, like, I mean, COVID, you know, lockdown taught us a lot. It taught us a lot. And the mace taught us that we don't need a gym to work out.
Great point. What were you going to say, Kate?
When you swing the mace properly, because a lot of people, when they swing the mace, and Teresa knows what I'm talking about. When you do a proper swing and you let the whole pendulum swing behind you, that's understand what the mace has to offer.
Yeah.
Until you get that pendulum swing behind you and get the full rotation, you don't really know what
you don't feel it. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, listen, we just came up on the time, so what we do at the end. What I wanted to, we're gonna have you back on if possible, because this a part two.
A pleasure.
And the part two, if you want to talk about, I think this would be great to continue, is that the club, the mace, or things like the bullworker. For me, I've always, I've gone away from the gym for a while, but it even reinforced it more to me, confirmed it, as I saw everybody freaking out over here in Japan too, because they couldn't go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, what gym? I've been working out inside and outdoors for the longest time.
Yeah.
So if the next one that we have, I want you to talk a little bit about that. We'll expand on it.
Sure.
But before you go, here's where we get to, if there's anything that you have to share, something, inspiration, a point that you can say for people that are going through struggles, whatever they may be in life, a nice little message for the young lads or for the young girls out there that are creating problems for themselves that are not there because they don't have the struggles that a lot of people have back in the day. And that in itself is a struggle.
Yeah. There are a couple of them. One thing I would say, and it's really easy for me to say, but get out of your head. Get out of your head. You know, it doesn't serve you. Get out of your head. And another thing is, you know, and this is sometimes really hard for us to hear, especially when we are struggling because we're so deep in it, is you are exactly where you are supposed to be right now.
Beautiful. Well, Teresa, Kay, if you don't have anything else to add to the soup of beautiful madness.
Yeah, I think she's ended it well then.
It's amazing, to the point, simple, strategic, surgical attack of love. Anyway,
Always.
like always, at the end, we come together through our meetings, through our connections, through our bonds, and create friction that will bring about that light so that we may all bear it upon the well. Teresa, I've loved you, and we're from the same place too, you know, we're
Well, yes, the Bronx.
Yeah, and
New York City.
I don't talk to many Americans out here. A lot of them tend to be pretty arrogant out here and conceited.
Okay.
And so most of my friends are Brits. Yeah, you know what I
Okay.
mean? So lots
Hence
of
K.
yes, I have a lot of Brit friends.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll go ahead and I'll stay on with Kay because we're gonna finish up real quick.
Okay.
And I will reach out to you. Or actually, Kay, give her my full detail on Messenger, and then maybe we can stay in touch. And I'd like to see some of your videos if you have anything posted on Facebook when it comes to mace training and stuff like that.
It's if you're on Instagram, it's T3 Fit. So
yeah,
it's
I'm not on Instagram.
So, and then on Facebook, it's FITT number 3.
FITT number 3. All right, sweet. I'll look you up on Facebook on the Book of Face. And I'll give you a big hug, Teresa. Dude, you were awesome, girl.
Thank you. Wait, I'm just. Thank you.
And
thank you. Kay, thanks for introducing us. Thanks for putting this connection together.
Yeah, and let's expand. So, what I do is I'm going to transfer the file onto Kay. Kay will upload it onto YouTube, and then I put it on the page. And so when you check out the video, go straight to the YouTube. It's the link.
Okay.
Put the like on the YouTube or whatever. But the thing is, share it with other people to see.
Absolutely.
And if you know anybody else that would love to be on our podcast, we want to reach as many people as possible to share tales.
I will DM Kay because I think that Primal, I think, would be good because he has a lot to share, and he lived in Shanghai.
Oh, awesome. I've been in China too.
For 13 years, I think, but he's a big club person.
Ooh,
so he just moved back. Yeah, he just moved back to the States, I think 2 years ago.
Great.
And he's in Long Beach.
Long Beach. I used to hang out in Long Beach because I used to go to see heavy metal concerts there. Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Beach Arena. Yeah. All right. Representing, girl. Whoop whoop.
Can I get a picture of us real quick?
Yeah, no worries.
Okay,
go ahead.
Cool. All right. Let me do it this way. Okay. I'll post it on my story. So, okay. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Be safe, be warm, and I'll talk to you all soon.
Okay, sweet.
Okay.
Peace and love, and keep it jungly. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Mr. K, that was amazing, dude.
Yeah.
So I want to leave with your final point though, too, because you got to bring it. It was amazing, dude. Especially because she's from the States too, man.
Yeah, it was nice. I just wanted her to share her story about her side of, her health struggles and whatnot. So
yeah. It's pretty late out there right now, isn't it? It's like 11 at night.
Yep.
Are you tired?
A little bit tired, but
I'm tired too. I mean, I woke up a little bit, but now I'm gonna go and catch up 1 more hour of sleep. It's pretty dark here right now and freaking cold. So it is cloudy. The weather is like probably about 5 degrees Celsius. It's pretty cold, mate.
It's cold here too, but I'm gonna catch.
Yeah, but when I finish my nap, I'm gonna go outside in shorts and do Wim Hof, bro.
Boy.
Well, listen, you can go ahead and just hit the bed today, and I'll send it to you by the end of the night, and then just check it out in the morning.
Okay, yeah.
All right, and then we'll talk about the next guest. But that's awesome, dude. It's gonna keep rolling. It's awesome.
Nice, nice. Good stuff.
Hey, you look good, bro. Why are you pimping today? I like it. You look like a hip hop star, bro. Little necklace, nice and blue. I'm ready to hear your beats.
You know?
You look like Dr. Dre, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it fresh these days.
All right, brother. Well, we'll leave off like that. And I'll send you the link tonight. But go ahead and get some sleep, all right?
All right, bro. Yeah.
Okay, man. Big hug to you. I love you. Hey,
Yeah,
you know, I was thinking the next one, I want you to lead it, bro. I want to stand back the next one just one time because I want your mojo to fucking splash, dude.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, you'll see, because you know I don't mind. I like doing it, but I like to see that just to see the dynamic and stuff. If you're keen on it, but anyway, we're battling extra right now when we should be getting off. Hey, you like that one with the joint? Wake up and it's just one long ash, like, whoa. All right, bro. Anyway, we'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and reach out to you tomorrow, man.
All right, bro. All right, bro. Yeah.
Okay. Love you, Kay.
I love you.
Okay. Cheers. Good night.